There's one thing we are reminded of every 4th of July. It's the fellas are just really not that into us. We did a podcast the other day, Colin Flaherty podcast, hope you can check it out, where we documented some of the stuff going on against Betsy Ross, how everybody forgot to mention Betsy Ross was an abolitionist, an active member of the Underground Railroad, helping slaves escape from the South. None of that mattered. None of that mattered. She's a bad person. Let's get rid of her. Let's get rid of her sneakers. All because Colin Kaepernick and Eric Michael Dyson say so. So that sounds good to me. But whatever the talking heads are saying on MSNBC, CNN, NPR, you know who they are. Whatever they're saying about black on white hostility, showing it every day. The violence is really the most dramatic example of the black on white hostility, whether it's directed on white people or at white institutions.
Fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah. What?
And here we got a fella just cruising through. I'm not sure. This might be Milwaukee. I forgot to get where this is from. He's just shooting fireworks at white people. So let's check this fella out. Then let's check out I almost said all the other. I think I only got a small percentage, even though that's a lot. Let's check out some of the black mob violence and black criminality wildly out of proportion on full display on the 4th of July holiday.
By phone, a large group of teens, she estimates at least 40, were starting trouble on top of Beale Street Landing before the big fireworks show.
Guys were throwing fireworks off of the top of the landing down at the street at cars.
She says officers ran up the landing to get them. She thought police took care of things, but soon discovered that wasn't the case.
We're trying to get food at food trucks, and we just kept witnessing fireworks being thrown into crowds of people, and I kept seeing, like moms with their little babies running and dragging their babies, and these weren't like little firecrackers, these were big fireworks.
Then one of the fireworks was thrown at her family, Rayleigh's 6-year-old daughter in the area at the time. The mom had enough and went up to one of the teens asking what his problem was. Shortly after, her boyfriend followed.
I told him he was going to hurt somebody, and they were throwing fireworks at babies. We were just trying to talk to them. I was going to, be able to identify him and then go tell the cops.
But before that could happen, she says someone came from behind and punched her boyfriend in the head. From there, others jumped in too. Rayleigh trying to pull them off, they began attacking her as well, until witnesses and police were able to break everything up. Rayleigh believes her boyfriend might have a concussion and a broken leg after he was hit with an e-scooter.
Down in Pulaski County, Arkansas, the first responders were going to a scene of a bunch of fireworks accidents where people are losing fingers. One of the papers said somebody lost a hand. Cops show up, ambulance show up to help the fellas out. The fellas say, well, you're just fresh meat for our weapons.
Let me get my back. Hey, he walking like he can't even be hurt. Yeah. Oh, he chasing me. Let me get my away. Uh-oh, they're going nothing. He running, y'all. He running. He running. He running. had to get that from out here.
Here's a lot more video from Arkansas, same place. I'm not going to run the full clip. I'll just run just a little bit of what you see here. But what you're seeing here is just a bunch of fellas firing fireworks at a parking lot. Yeah, that's how cars catch on fire. That's how cops get hurt. But as you know, you're not going to see anything in here from all the argy-bargy in Philadelphia. We did a separate video on that. There was so much there to show. But it is interesting to look at this guy who replied on my Twitter timeline this morning. He reminded everybody that, you know, no matter what the video shows, there was 1,000 people rampaging through South Philadelphia. They were attacking cops, destroying property, looting the drugstore, looting the 7-Eleven, beating the hell out of people. No matter what you saw on video, most of the black people were not really rioting. Translation, this guy kind of discovered our favorite saying. The rioters were largely peaceful.
This cell phone video captured the chaos that ensued shortly after the show. Police say a private security guard possibly mistook some firecrackers for gunfire. Thousands chose to run rather than hit the deck.
I saw a lot of different people running. I saw a lot of chaos, people falling.
13 people were hurt in the stampede. Some children got separated from their parents for a time. Other parents were lucky enough to grab their kids and hide.
There was a restaurant right there on the side. The kitchen was open, so we climbed a little fence and we went inside the restaurant. We were hiding in back of the booth.
While police were dealing with the stampede, they were also dealing with a fight. Police say it involved gang signs and 3 people getting stabbed. One man, police said, had nothing to do with the fight. Jose Miracasada had no idea what was happening. He just knew his 2 little girls were scared.
A few minutes later, some officers come over again. They said, you guys can come this way.
During the chaos, Jose's wife lost her phone, just one of nearly 500 items that are now on the Pier's Lost and Found website.
Caught on camera, crowds in Pickerington celebrating July 4th scatter as a fight leads to several people in handcuffs and sends one man to the hospital.
Erica Saw was a young man in desperate need of help.
Did chest compressions because he didn't have a heartbeat and found that he had a wound to the head.
According to deputies, moments before, the man approached this fireworks stand and pointed a gun at the workers demanding money. One of the workers grabbed the cash and set it on the counter. The suspected robber, he put his gun down and went for the cash. That's when one of the employees took the gun and shot the man
In the face.
But
Cindy Mullen was working at this fireworks stand when she saw her daughter being pulled into an SUV, dragged down the street before being thrown into the air, and all Cindy could do was just run to her side.
I thought I was running to a dead daughter.
Michelle Mullen was left to die in the street over a pack of fireworks. Her family says she was protecting them when a group of people robbed her stand. One man was coming for Michelle's son, so she stepped between them.
They grabbed her arms and pulled her in the car and beat her, and then probably hit at least 40 miles an hour before they threw her out of the car and ran over her.
Witnesses say the driver didn't even slow down as they pushed Michelle out of the SUV.
There were 2 girls in the back screaming at him, go, 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 push her out of the window, go.
Helplessly watching all this happen, Michelle's mother was the first to get to her daughter, waiting with her until help arrived.
I was yelling, call 911, call 911. I'm yelling to her, don't move, don't move. She didn't hear me. She's unconscious. I just held her in my arms.
Michelle has run this fireworks stand for years, raising money for adults with disabilities. Stealing from her stand means taking money from charity.
We don't get paid for this to help. For this to happen, it just took our joy completely away from us.
But even from the ICU, Michelle is still fighting for her charity. She wants to make sure that thieves don't take anything else from such an important cause.
She said, I don't want you to quit. We do this for a reason. Don't quit, Mom.
Sierra, just minutes after the fireworks show wrapped, shots were fired under the John Nolan Bridge at Shake the Lake. One person was shot and injured, and a police officer was injured in the commotion. Moments after the shots were fired, a stampede broke out. Now you can see that here in some viewer footage on your screen. Witnesses on the scene tell us some people ducked down and covered their children. Those we spoke to say it was shocking to see such a commotion at a family event.
Over in St. Louis, a bunch of fellas pointed at some fireworks at a bus driver, hit him, put him in a hospital with severe burns. Over to Pittsburgh.
The big message, though, coming from Pittsburgh police as well as the mayor. If anyone was out here who saw or heard or took pictures or video, to come forward right now. I have to take you back, though. Draw your eyes to the flashing lights. Channel 11 stayed just past the crime tape and followed investigators moments after those shots were fired. Pittsburgh police and major crimes were called to 6th and Penn around 11 last night. When they got here to the Agnes Arcats Plaza, they found 2 men with gunshot wounds. One of the men was shot in the head, the other in the stomach. Both of them are believed to be in their late teens, if not early 20s. They were rushed to local hospitals where they are in critical condition right now.
One thing this reporter fails to tell us in this clip is that, yeah, there were two teens were shot, but the teens were shot during an episode of large-scale black mob violence downtown Pittsburgh during the fireworks. And whenever they have something in Pittsburgh, whether it's fireworks or later on the summer, I think they have a big marina kind of thing down at the river, lots of boats, lots of this, lots of that. These are regular and predictable occasions of large-scale black mob violence where they always come out with the same thing going, hey man, how'd that happen? We never seen anything like that before. Then you talk to somebody who lives down there, and more often than not, you're getting them on the way to pick up their U-Haul because they're saying, I don't think I want to deal with this anymore in downtown Pittsburgh. Well, we come circle on good old Peoria and White Grub Lidl. We did a lot of stuff on 4th of July in Peoria. They're still up to it. Large-scale black mob violence in Peoria, which used to be the test market capital of America because it represented the entire country so well. Now it's just another dark and dangerous chocolate city where people do a lot of dangerous argy-bargy on the 4th of July. Ditto in Akron. Some of the fellas went to an Akron rental hall. 3 people were shot on the 4th of July. Here's an interesting story out of Atlanta.
As 4th of July fireworks lit up the sky Thursday evening, Atlanta police say this man, 27-year-old Deshaun Williams, was riding around on an electric scooter when he threw a lit firework at an officer while he sat in his marked patrol car. It happened just before midnight behind a McDonald's near Joseph E. Lowerly Boulevard and MLK Jr. Drive on the northwest side of the city.
It just blew my mind. Like, what are you doing? Do you not respect life at all?
Investigators say the suspect, who is no stranger to law enforcement, tried to run from the officer, who eventually caught up to him and was forced to use his taser before arresting and charging him with simple battery and obstruction.
And we could probably do the same story, this Detroit story, as we're doing for Detroit or Chicago or Philly, but they put it in a nice little package, so we might as well let them run with it.
Yes, good afternoon. I want you to take a look at this map. It shows all of the shooting scenes across the city of Detroit from 9:55 p.m. until 3:30 this morning. That's less than a 6-hour span, and there were 9 confirmed shootings. 1 person was killed, 9 other victims are in the hospital. 1 is listed in critical condition.
Ever been to Evansville, Illinois? Well, unless you're a fella who is interested in attacking a bunch of cops with fireworks, well, maybe you wouldn't have any reason to be there this year either. That's the tip of the spear. That's the tip of the iceberg for the argy-bargy, violent, dangerous, murderous stuff that was happening on the 4th of July. That's how the fellas celebrate our independence, celebrate the birth of the greatest country in the world.
Please, sir, I want some more.
They just don't give a damn because they're just not into us. They don't care who knows it, because knowing it, that sure doesn't make the black kids angry.